Let me just tell you something that Charles Barkley, the basketball player, commented on. And he's talking about the present, not about the past. Barkley goes, I've been noticing that poor people have been voting for the Democratic Party for 50 years, and they're still poor.
According to Dinesh D'Souza, living in the inner city and voting for the Democratic Party is similar to living on the old plantations of the South. Welcome to Dave's Club, your one-stop shop for all things Patriot and conservative. I'm glad you're here. Man, this is good. This is too good. You are going to love this. Let's roll the clip and enjoy Dinesh doing what Dinesh does best.
Now, what's he getting at? I think what he's saying is that we have seen in Detroit, in St. Louis, in Baltimore, in the inner cities of this country, a kind of revival of the old, well, it's a new form of the old plantation. And what I mean by that is, if you think of the plantation as people living in complete dependency, they can't get off the plantation. Now, they get a basic provision on the plantation, but it's very meager. But nevertheless, it's enough to sustain you, and you're there and you're stuck.
Interesting. It's enough to sustain you, and you're stuck.
Now, I'm not saying that the inner city is the same. Obviously, it's not the same. People aren't being forced to work against their will, etc. In fact, a lot of them aren't working. But there is a certain kind of frozenness to the plantation. And what I notice is very bizarre and very telling is that when there are efforts to change the plantation, they are vigorously fought by progressives and Democrats. So, for example, in a lot of inner cities now, there are these gentrification movements in which yuppies come in with technology companies and they say, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put in all these new buildings, we're going to create all these new jobs, we're going to open Starbucks, we're going to create all this enterprise, and we're going to make this into a kind of enterprise zone of productivity and prosperity. And we're also going to pay money to the people who are in there now so they can move elsewhere or stay here. And if they stay here, there are going to be more jobs, and there's going to be better food, and we're going to clean up the place, and crime rates will go down. And progressive Democrats will inevitably mobilize and fight desperately to block these gentrification schemes.
Productivity and prosperity. Of course Democrats don't like that. Of course they're going to fight against it because they want to keep the people that live in these areas under their thumb. They don't want them to be prosperous.
More jobs, more prosperity, less crime, safer neighborhoods. What's not to like? And if you have to move, your property values have gone up already enormously, and so you can sell and cash out and move where you want. But no, you have to fight these. Why? Because you can't disrupt the plantation. The plantation has its uses.
You cannot disrupt the plantation. The plantation has its uses. The uses is maintaining the voter bloc, keeping the people downtrodden and keeping them voting Democrats so you stay in power.
So that's all I'm going to say about this now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are different forms of exploitation. If you have figured out a way to create a political class that you depend on politically, that's delivering 90% of its votes to you, and if any of those guys got jobs and moved out, they would no longer be beholden to you, that's not a very good situation. And it bears an uncanny resemblance to the policies of the past.
Wow. That was heavy duty. Leave it to Dinesh. All right, this is very interesting idea and gives a kind of logic to Democrat policies. As we all know, Democratic policies are designed to keep people down under the guise of lifting them up, but it never works. People spend decades stuck in the same loop, never making headway and continuing to vote Democrat. Well, it seems like it really is all by design. The Democrats maintain a downtrodden voter base that they can continue to manipulate and pander to and ultimately exploit. Leave it to Dinesh to expose the evils of the Democrat Party. All right, guys, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing the insights of Dinesh D'Souza. Please support the channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. I'm churning these out 5 days a week, and you don't want to miss it. See you next time.